The market doesn't reward excitement, it rewards timing. And most people figure that out before it's too late. Welcome back to Treasure Theory, guys, where we talk about all things cards and collectibles. And guys, today is going to be a very special video because we're going to be really taking a look at the One Piece bull run that's currently happening right now. And we're going to have a philosophical conversation about what you really need to be doing to navigate this market without holding the bag. It's going to be a very interesting economic related type video. We're going to look at some prices and the overall market in general. But before we get into it, guys, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And also, guys, if you want some waifu yitties on your gamer subs, use my code down in the description below. Click the link, buy some stuff, use code Treasure or Papa, and get 10% off your order. All right, guys, let's get into it. So as we all know, the One Piece TCG is going through a bull market right now. Prices are skyrocketing, sealed product is reaching new highs, and people are losing their minds over it. I still can't get over that this card right here has blown up to the level it has. It's a beautiful card, and to think that this came from one of my least favorite sets, which was 2 Legends, which quite frankly, I didn't really like that set at all, but we can see here that this card has gone up 417%. It is absolutely crazy that when I had this card for about 35 bucks, it has now shot up as high as it has, which is astronomical, and I'm sure many of you are feeling the same way. There's a lot of cards in our binders that we are probably unaware have gone up at incredible prices, and that's what we're going to be looking into, guys. But I wanted to look at these cards, not just to really look at the prices, since, so many people are doing that already, but I wanted to bring up some economic wisdom, some guidance for some of us who are new to the game, who've never really considered investing in stuff like that, because there are principles when it comes to stuff like this. Now remember, nothing's financial advice in this video, but I do want to help you guys out, because quite frankly, there is a lot to take in. And the first thing I want to start off, guys, is market cycles. As we can see here, we've got a Wall Street cheat sheet, which is really just showing us the psychology of market cycles. And guys, if you think the One Piece TCG is different, it's not, okay? But let's carefully take a look at this. We start off here at the bottom, where things start to become, disbelief, hope things are getting better, optimism, belief, thrill, and then, of course, at the peak of the cycle, we get euphoria. Then, of course, things become stagnant and drop down, all right? We get a pullback, and then, of course, we enter a depression, okay? And that is typically how every single market cycle works. Now, I'm not going to be extreme here and tell you that these card prices are going to rock bottom, because that's not what I'm here to tell you, okay? But we need to enter these market cycles understanding how they work and what's exactly going on here. And guys, the One Piece TCG is no different. If we were to take a look at this graph right now, I would guess that we are probably in the thrill, if not euphoria stage right now, which, as you can tell, is definitely something you should be keeping your eye out on. You don't want to be buying at the top here and then holding the bag when things crash at the bottom. But that's just a little bit of wisdom when it comes to this sort of stuff. I do think we're itching closer to euphoria, to be quite honest with you, because just so many people are losing their minds over their cards, blowing up and stuff like that. And, you just got to be careful when it comes to buying these cards, because while they could continue going up, we just simply don't know. So if anything, that's my first little bit of advice for you guys when it comes to buying these cards. Another thing I wanted to bring up is how there's just very clear market manipulation going on here in the One Piece TCG, which kind of adds to this whole euphoria thing, because we've got a ton of people outside coming in, buying up these cards, and we've got clear evidence of people outside of One Piece who are infiltrating it because of this whole Gengar Nami situation. I did a whole video on it. I'm not going to go on a rant. And quite frankly, I do apologize if I ever come off a little negative. I'm not trying to attack anybody here. But there was very clear people from outside of the One Piece community coming in, calling this a Gengar Nami, which is a ridiculous statement if you're a big One Piece fan, because it makes no sense. But we saw that firsthand with this card, which has gone up 820%. It is still going up too. And quite frankly, while it is affordable at $65, I wouldn't really buy this card because it's very obvious it's going up, so it can be sold, guys. Which leads me to the next thing I wanted to bring up, which is a concept called greater fool theory. Now, if you don't know what greater fool theory is, it's essentially the concept that, you're buying something with the hope that someone else is going to buy it off you for an even higher price. But the thing is, eventually, there is one last buyer for that high price, and then everything starts turning around. If we apply that to what's going on in the market right now, I mean, look, this card has shot up, all right, 267%. We can classify this as the beginning of the bull run, the middle of the bull run, or possibly the end of the bull run. We don't know. But the thing is, if you bought down here and we're up here now, you're laughing. You're absolutely laughing. If you were to sell these cards, you would be in profit. Now, of course, I'm not telling you to sell your cards because I could sell this guy right now and make a pretty penny, but I don't want to. Because I'm not really in this to just sell all these beautiful cards that I love. Although, down the road, I do believe these cards will go higher. But for the time being, I'm not really fazed by this whole bull run at the moment. And although these cards are obviously exploding in price right now, and it's just a phenomenal thing, and if you need the money, you should sell, because, I think it is a good opportunity for any of us who didn't have the money to maybe take some profit or all that sort of stuff. We need to understand that this is not going to go on forever. Eventually, these prices will come down, and we have no idea what that's going to look like, but we do have an idea, okay? And you can't sit there and tell me this is different. It's not. This is how everything works, guys. And there's a few more good points I want to bring up before we get there, too. We see so many cards are blowing up, right? A lot of these treasure rare cards, a lot of these alt arts and stuff like this. This BOA's gone up 210% in the last 3 months. A lot of craziness happening, right? A lot of euphoria. But I also want to point out the fact that, guys, these cards are not special. I mean, yeah, the treasure rares are cool, and it's nice that they're getting the attention they deserve and stuff like that. But this card means nothing. This card shouldn't mean anything. But yet, what about the manga cards, guys? Obviously, the manga cards are the goated cards, are the grails. And yet, all of these other smaller cards are blowing up in price. I mean, $224, $80, $73. I mean, and these are all, this is all US, by the way. And and it wasn't that long ago, guys, when some of these manga cards were actually in those price ranges. So let's look at the Usopp real quick. This Usopp 3 months ago was at $345 US. You could have bought yourself a nice, pretty manga card for basically almost the price of this Luffy card, which is crazy because we all know that manga cards at the end of the day are the chase cards, and yet now this card has shot up to $525, but people are selling this for a lot higher, as we can see, for $800 plus, so roughly $1,000 Canadian. So, so just the fact that, people who are trying to manipulate the market, people who are just coming into this market not knowing what to buy, and people who think that this is the right time to buy, are not even really focusing on what really matters. Yes, treasure rare cards are cool, and I'm not denying that. We've talked about this before. They are quite hard to get. But guys, the manga cards are some of the ultimate chase cards in the entire game. And, it's actually kind of hilarious looking at the Gold Roger card. This card technically can't even be manipulated properly because there's literally not that many in circulation. But that doesn't stop people from trying, because we can see in the 6-month snapshot, the prices were between $2,600, $2,700, and $3,300. Now people are trying to sell this for $6,000. But there's not that many in supply, so if a lot of people aren't trying to sell the card, it's not really going to budge that much. But the main point I'm trying to say here, guys, is that if there was grails to chase in this card game, it is these. The One Piece manga cards are incredibly hard to get, but I'm not telling you to buy them right now because of the price rise. I'm more or less saying that we can see evidence of euphoria happening in the One Piece TCG, because everything is kind of blowing up right now. Now, I'm not telling you all this stuff so you start panicking and you sell your cards, or you say that I'm an idiot and I'm wrong, or you can do what you want, to be honest. But guys, we have to be honest with ourselves. The One Piece TCG market is no different from the S&P, from crypto, from any market that exists, because they all function around human behavior. Once these cards start passing prices that are just not affordable for the majority of people, no one's going to buy them for these prices. I mean, seriously, how many people do you think are going to be out there buying manga cards for $8,000, $10,000, $12,000? Not very many, okay? And eventually, people who are sitting on these cards, trying to sell them for these high prices, are going to get tired and are just going to fall down into price discovery, which is essentially the concept that the market will basically tell us what each card is based on how the market behaves. So there's just a lot of factors when it comes to investing and working around supply, demand, your money, your value. There's a lot of really interesting things you can learn in economics. And quite frankly, the One Piece TCG is no different from economics, okay? It's supply and demand and a bunch of other things. But the more we learn about this stuff, the smarter we can be with our money, and the more likely we won't get caught with our pants down, because none of us wants to feel that way. Nobody wants to buy at the top and find that their card is now worth half of what they paid for it. And one last thing before we end, because I didn't really talk much about sealed product. Guys, the sealed product situation is no different. Now, I do think that the first set, the blue bottom Romance Dawn boxes, I think these will forever be like the grail of grails for sealed product, but everything past that is really debatable. Obviously, OP5 is probably is probably second best to the blue bottoms, white bottoms. I mean, they're technically the same set, but you know what I mean. And while I do think long-term sealed products will eventually go up, I do think they're going to find themselves in price discovery, and I do think these sealed boxes will be no better. But I could be wrong. Do what you will with your money. But anyways, we'll have to wait and see what the future has in store for us. So guys, at the end of the day, do what you will with your money. Be smart with your money. Be smart with what you're doing in this One Piece market. Navigate it properly. And remember, guys, nothing goes up forever. So I hope this video was helpful. And if it was, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, comment, and a video should pop up on the screen. Be sure to click it, and I will see you over there.